Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, another wondrous Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. A 1 versus 1 for you today on Langaraskea during the winter. Yes, indeed, we shall be watching in the bottom half. We shall be watching SturmtigerVorgas fighting for the Soviet Union and the 30th Tank Corps going up against Barton. Fighting for the Reich, rolling up for the 1st Panzerdivision. A brutal fight shall ensue. We are noting here a dual pioneer start from Barton, thus indicating he's going to grab a bit of territory initially on infantry company, though quickly following up for this gentleman of fortune. What kind of fortune? I don't know. Conscripts quickly following up here for SturmtigerVorgas. Choosing about a bit. Pretty aggressive move here, straight for the victory point from Barton. Of course, it also serves as pretty much a connecting territory here, so if you hold both of them, you don't be much harder to actually harass from this piece of territory. So, of course, there might be the thoughts behind Barton's move right here with his pioneers. Points being secured there, points being secured there. Nice western move there from SturmtigerVorgas. Nothing out of the unusual there. Pioneers heading over the west. First squad of Grenadiers arrive here for Barton. Conscripts continuing moving out, ready to move out here at the edge of the capturing zone. And they're going for the munitions while the Grenadiers moving here. Victory point there being slightly ignored. Another Grenadier squad quickly firing up there for Barton. There we go, quick reconnaissance move into the house, getting an idea of what's going on around, to ensure he doesn't fall into any traps of the fascist kind.
We have a fresh Grenadier squad.
There we go, first engagement. Combat engineers versus pioneers. MP40s versus Mosen Nagants. And the combat engineers were advancing on the pioneers, thus giving the pioneers the advantage with their MP40s. And the pioneers will win this unless the conscripts actually manage to turn the tide quickly enough. And there we go, rushing ahead through the thick snow, the deep snow. There we go, combat engineers are forced away, but the pioneers will be forced to retreat themselves. MG42 then following up here for Barton.
Grenadiers reporting.
SturmtigerVorgas heading for the cutoff point, or at least what he assumes is, of course, he's forgetting about the victory point, which also serves that very purpose. And there we go, the MG42 arrives for Barton.
Sector has been cut off.
Pioneers here.
The territory is out of contact. Germany now holds the victory point.
There we go, another victory point secured. Looks like he's moving in there for the victory point, and that's the second cut off. Pioneers moving in, MG42 moving up. Grenadiers will need to react to this. Barton seemingly a bit not really caring about this. Maybe Barton has nerves of steel. Krupp steel.
The enemy has driven a wedge in our lines.
Bit of a minor engagement going on here. Conscripts trying to stay at range, some trying to flank. Not really working out. And there we go, 2 Grenadier squad versus the conscripts right there. Nothing going on the base of SturmtigerVorgas, although there we go. Support weapon company going up. Pioneers not having such a holly jolly time, as they're getting flanked here, outnumbered, and Molotov Pioneer squad vanishes into the flames. Definitely not very willingly though. And there go MG42 simply getting overpowered through sheer numbers. MG42 crew doing what they can, Grenadiers arriving as well. Molotovs lobbed. Everyone makes it out of there, although slightly scorched. Third squad of Grenadiers arriving here for Barton. Could he be upgrading any of them with machine guns? Would not seem so at the moment. Alternating Doctrines, Lightning War, Festering Armor, and Spearhead for SturmtigerVorgas. Pretty much the box standard, so back to Barton. MG42 quickly advancing. Schnell. Looks like he's trying to get a bit of a drop here, at least temporarily delay the capturing of the point, but ultimately though he realizes if he does that he might lose the squad, and that might even happen. It might be too late to escape the vengeance of the fatherland. Or not.
This is German territory now.
Well, that was a bit anticlimactic.
Attempting to steal our sector.
No taking on, a bit of resources being flowed there by Sir Barton. Three conscripts, combat engineers with a flamethrower. Aggressively harassing Barton's fuel points. Grenadier, a fourth squad of Grenadiers. Interesting also taking up. But a fourth squad of Grenadiers. Barton pushing hard for the infantry. No mercy for the Bolsheviks.
The new Grenadier squad is ready. Fire support.
And conscripts, thinking they're clever, end up realizing they perhaps weren't quite as much as they come under fire from the MD-42. Fuel point harassment has been stopped. Still the combat engineers running around with the flamethrower being a bit of a pain in the arse. And Barton decides to return the favour, moving up towards the fuel point. Grenadiers being forced out of the house by a Molotov. Suddenly things are beginning to heat up a bit. And we are seeing a mortar has arrived. A heavy mortar, that means Guards motor. Guards motor for SturmtigerVorgas. MG-42 quickly shifted about to try and stop the advancing combat engineers. Will it be enough? Will it be enough? Barely. And Pioneers in a bit of trouble here with the conscripts.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Ooh!
An infantry squad has been killed.
Ow! That was that Grenadier squad. One direct hit here from the 120mm mortar. Again, the power of it. I mean, he can pretty much wipe out any German infantry squad with one hit. So there you go. A loss to the 1st Panzer Division. A considerable blow to the fatherland. They were all brave grenadiers. But the hunt continues here for these conscripts, trying to hunt in the deep snow, but realizing they'd rather prefer to be warm. And then realizing, you know, it would actually be quite nice just to be away from all those Germans shooting at them. But of course now we've got a clear idea what SturmtigerVorgas has gone for. And of course Barton also does. In fact, he's also made a response of his own. Blitz, Lightning War, Doctrine, Jäger Light Infantry, Relief Infantry, Tactical Movement, Tigers, Stuka Close Air Support, or they just prefer calling it the Kanonenvogel, as that was what the Stuka with the 37mm cannons was called. The Kanonenvogel, basically meaning the cannon bird, or gun bird.
Our lines of supply are disrupted.
Grenadiers reporting.
Bunker up here. Barton quite fond of medic bunkers, not in his base but actually somewhat close to the front line. Half track following up. Also another thing that Barton's actually quite fond of, so that's a bit of a tactical move from his side, something he regularly goes for, something I regularly see in his games, and it's actually quite interesting to see.
The enemy has broken our supply lines.
A bit of fighting going on here towards the central victory point, constantly shifting back and forth. Heavy mortar now providing fire support of a heavier kind, and Tanker Battalion Command already up here for SturmtigerVorgas before the 10-minute mark, by the way. So clearly SturmtigerVorgas really has put it all into him to rush for some armor to try and catch those fascists off guard. And we're seeing plenty of scout cars now arriving here for the 1st Panzer Division, half-track advancing, and we're seeing the Flamm Panzerwagen upgrade there on the way as well. In the meanwhile, though, he's actually going to use it to upgrade, so clearly there's something being planned here by Barton.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Conscripts advancing, making a pretty bold move here again for the cut-off point. Vorgas constantly pushing it, constantly being aggressive, daring, bold, some other stuff. And there we go, we're running straight at it. And there we go, Flamm Panzerwagen upgrade ready And there we go, a heavy mortar being caught there with the grenadiers as well. Oh, he might actually be able to get it. He might be able to get the heavy mortar. And there we go, actually looks like it might happen. Burning, burn, you filthy communist dogs. I mean, never mind. And there we go, this light tank has arrived here for SturmtigerVorgas. Time to pop over to him, by the way. Heavy mortar being recruited, might want to consider retreating it. Though of course he doesn't know there's a T-70 on the way, but still, it's pretty close to the enemy space, and you should always assume it's going to be a pretty fun target. And there we go, grenade quickly clears it out. And now the T-70 arrives just to ruin everything. So now Barton just needs to get everything out of there. And Barton should probably also realise he might be in slight trouble due to the T-70's presence, and the fact that he's got very little to actually stop it.
Squad at full strength.
Temporary solution might be upgrading the scout cars with auto cannons. And there we go, using the scout cars, a small patrol there to deal with harassers on the flanks. Good job there, Barton. That is certainly what they do quite well at. And there we go, one upgraded, auto cannon up. Flame for half-track dealing with another flank. T-70 pushing up the center, need to be careful. Did get Panzerfausted. Also noting, no anti-tank upgrades actually up for Vorgas as of yet. That's actually quite surprising. Usually you'd see something like that, but not today. Not today. There we go, pulling back here towards the medic bunker for healing. Might wait the half-track for reinforcements as well. And a Pack 40 has arrived, the Panzerabwehrkanone 40. Primary anti-tank gun for the Germans. Although they actually tried making a sort of slimmer, shorter variant called the Pack 50, which basically had a shorter barrel and was probably a bit easier to maneuver about. Didn't quite have about the same range, but still pretty much the same penetration. So that's a smaller fun fact there. And there we go, Guards infantry up for Vorgas. Heavy mortar has also been recruited by a few plucky conscripts. And then we hear the first sounds of mortar rounds hitting the ground. Scout cars doing what they can. Flammenpanzerwagen also ready to charge in and save the day, or at least ruin it for someone else. And that's exactly what's happening. Vasili's day was in fact ruined the day he caught on fire. In fact, that also happened to be his last day. Not really to the surprise of anyone. And we're actually noting Barton has got himself a second half-track. Probably this one's just more specifically for reinforcement purposes, but still rare that you actually see a German player bother with more than one half-track at a time. So fun little thing there. Also noting Gewehr for the fleets are equipped, and also note here Barton of course getting a munitions cast because that's actually what his doctrine needs, since it's a lot reliant on munitions. So good move there from Barton, really good, realising what his doctrine needs and then actually bloody well getting it. Commendable. T-70 doing what it can, but needs to be careful here. It's not really meant for head-on engagements, particularly when actually facing anti-tank guns. It did never have the thickest of frontal armors. And there we go, a full-on mechanized push going in there from Barton. Half-tracks, scout cars burning and shooting their way through Vorgas' front lines. And a T-34 following up there for Vorgas. Also a lot of munitions. He could easily stand to mine some of the approaches. Here would be a good spot. Here would be a good spot. I mean, really, again, mine stuff for heaven's sake. Mine the snot out of it.
What do you need?
The enemy is taking what we have secured. Visit conditions are imminent.
Predecessor died a hero.
There we go, quickly repairing the
All units are here.
leichte Panzerspähwagen. And T-34 arrives for Vorgas and the 30th Tank Corps.
Yes, comrade.
Bit of quiet again.
You need something demolished.
Looks like Vorgas might be launching a multifaceted assault from different angles. That's good. Of course, he's also got marked vehicle. He might want to try and use that, although currently it's not really much that really needs it as such either.
Do you need something?
Looks like the big push is about time. There we go, going for the northern points. Like, going to see if we can't draw something away here from the centre. At the same time, getting ready to support his armoured assault. And of course, he's still got the heavy mortars nearby. And there we go. We are in fact seeing that. Barton is reacting. He has taken the bait. Now, Vorgo needs to push in. One scout car dead. Other one moves up. Flame for half-tech as well. T-34 needs to move up and support. Move up and support. T-70 also needs to actually do something. And meanwhile, troops up here dying a bit, to put it mildly. Scout cars and flame for half-tech's proving quite unhealthy. And he's actually just moving away. He's actually using the T-70 to support his harassment. He's not going to use it in the main assault. Interesting move there. Interesting move. Although if he had pulled it in, he could actually have now been flanking this Pack 40, sorting it out and make things a lot easier overall. But we do see that Barton is playing it safe. He's secured himself a second Pack 40. And the other scout car went down as well. A grim blow right there for Barton. And the first Panzer Division. T-34 continuing to take frontal damage right there from the pack. And T-34 down. Kaputt. Nicht mehr. But overall, we do see that Vorgo is working towards getting map dominance, chipping away at the flanks, and also doing, in fact, a second munitions cast. So clearly Barton is very much thinking in the long term and thinking about doing the most with his doctrinal abilities, which of course also include relief infantry, tactical movement, and of course the Kanonenvogel, not just Gewehr 43. So there's actually quite a bit of things there that munitions can be turned towards, of course, in that way getting several munitions caches is a good idea.
Incoming rounds! This territory.
We are awaiting orders.
This will slow you down. Man down!
Burning away at the conscripts.
Light tank ready.
Combat engineer.
Vorgo continuing his path of destruction of the fascist territories on the right flank.
Passing.
Okay.
And Barton's gonna is pushing on there. Gewehr 43 in hand. And now looks like he's moving in the T-70 and getting the drop down the Pack 40. 45mm gun and the machine gun tearing away into the poor bastard, spanning it. But now the T-70's acting in this really dire spot, caught between two Pack 40s, resulting in ultimate death. Good job there again. There's a reason why it's always a good idea to have some spread between the different anti-tank guns so they can actually cover each other in these situations.
Lizard is gone.
So all of a sudden, Vorgo is without armoured support.
Squad hazard sighted. A squad of infantry has been killed.
And without combat engineers as well, since they're now dead and burning, but also dead.
MG fire!
Veteran 2 MD42 stopping assault from the front, and Gewehr 43 grenadiers, and there we go again. Flammenpanzerwagen advances ruthlessly, murderously. Flammenpanzerwagenly. Guards and Jamie, and so we do see that it's getting buttoned up. No attempt, for example, using Mark V to get increased damage on it. Though we do finally see that anti-tank grenades are now available for him. And there we go, field gun has arrived here for SturmtigerVorgas. The field gun. Flame for a half-tank might soon go down. Veteran T2 though, which is a small mercy I suppose. Grenadiers doing what they can to support this violent endeavour. And there we go, Flammenpanzerwagen kaputt. But a smouldering wreck grenadiers here, they're all saying him, but also need to retreat, Rückzug. And another heavy mortar. Looks like Walker is slightly shifting up tactics. He's going away from the mobile, now focusing more on the hammer aspect of things. Looks like he's just going to bludgeon Barton to death. And a tiger has arrived. The tiger is here. Tiger.
Supply lines have been cut.
Man down! They've opened a runner attack! What do you need?
Field gun crew's in a bit of trouble here. Barton has equipped all of his grenadiers with Gewehr 43s.
This land belongs to all of us! Aim fire on these positions!
Losses are certainly being inflicted at a higher rate now, and there we go. Tiger bearing into the conscripts. Anti-tank grenade actually managed to damage the engine. Veteran 22 Guards infantry hold up here behind the field gun, using it for cover, I imagine. Grenadiers moving ahead. All forces involved. Veteran 22, although there are 2 mortars firing in support of SturmtigerVorgas. Light machine guns doing what they can here. A grenade might be useful to pop off on the fascists, but time to pop back to Barton, and grenade a bit too late. There we go. The Tiger.
The enemy is attempting to steal
Barton basically playing a heavy tier 1, tier 2, only then to go for the Tiger. A bold maneuver. Looks like one that is actually working out.
Our Tiger has been engaged. They're attacking.
Left flank seems to be largely untouched here by Barton at the moment. No real actual harassment going in there from Barton, or even an attempt to cover the flanks. Tiger playing a bit cautiously, probably knowing there's a field gun nearby. Doesn't want to get hit. Never mind then, seems he still moves, ends up moving ahead. Pushing up here to support the Tiger's flank. Grenadiers and MG42. And we're seeing relief infantry go up. Relief infantry. Conscripts barreling ahead. Right into the line of fire of the Tiger. Pioneers following up support. There we go, anti-tank grenade on the rear. Field gun firing as well. Tiger tank down to half health, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. And there we go, conscript squad gone. Half track rushing ahead. Allowing troops nearby to reinforce at the front line. And it just keeps on going. Half track down. Osttroppen squad reformed, or will formed out of and sent out to the front line. Field gun crew murdered. In the meanwhile, Barton disposing of the nearby field gun to ensure it cannot be utilised by his opponent. And there we go, point blank barrage right at the German infantry. Barton will need to retreat before he loses it all. As I would certainly not recommend just losing these squads just for the sake of Osttroppen. At least not a full squad.
Half-track has arrived.
And the 2 more heavy mortars are definitely proving to be quite a pain here to Barton and the 1st Panzer Division as they continue to push up. And looks like Barton will need a lot more Pioneers to actually repair his Tiger tank at some decent pace. There we go. Counter assault going in there from Vorga. Osttroppen needs to be careful. Now we've got a 2nd squad of Osttroppen sent in.
Requested units have arrived.
Nice hit there from the Tiger, but Tiger very low on health. And not even Veterans you won. Plus it looks like he's actually getting utilised marked target against him. Looks like the top gun is firing away there, the Sturmovik. And he actually gets it, he gets it! Oh, burning into the woods behind. Nice shot there, Friedrich.
We're throwing fire.
The 2 squads of Osttroppen still though getting hammered with Soviet mortar fire.
Soviet forces are engaging us!
Fire incoming.
More fire going in. Things are a bit quiet. I mean, note that SturmtigerVorgas is actually suffering a bit in the infantry department and not really making good use of his mines department, as now the Germans are pushing forwards again, although seems a bit risky here how close he's actually climbing up his troops. With that heavy mortar around, that could certainly turn a very, very, very grim. Another relief infantry up. And there we go. What happened was there the Grenadiers and the Ostrom simply got maimed. And in fact the Ostrom squad got wiped out to a man. There we go, already another Ostrom squad reformed. So a bit of a nasty engagement there. Barton definitely slipped up right there. Although I think also Barton should begin considering actually doing something on the flanks again. Taking away territory, drawing away SturmtigerVorgas forces away from the centre.
We are losing a sector.
Vorgas pushes forward actually with what little resources he can muster at the moment. Again, rather than infantry. Although some of it is quite veteran. So it's obviously not all bad. It's not all tears. You will not find Vorgas crying in the bathroom. Or something like that. Possibly into his spear while in the bathroom, which would be rather awkward. Tiger tank ready to support again. Relief infantry still going on there. A third squad of Ostrom. Pioneers leading the advantage of flanking out the Maxim. Tiger continuing to support, holding a bit back though, at a good solid distance. And we continue to see the two heavy mortars firing away, killing fascists left and right. And there we go, Tiger advances. Grenadiers doing what they can here from the flanks with the Gewehr 43s. Though none of them are quite veteran free, which would actually increase them and make them more lethal.
The blizzard is gone. We've made contact with the Soviet unit.
And there we go, Ostrom following up here. The initial assault has largely petered out. Now it's time to throw in the reinforcement into the reserves, into the fray. Although obviously not the best of reserves. Still they are there, and still they are leading the way. And the mortars are actually in a bit of trouble getting spotted out in the open. More mortar fire. Another Flammpanzerwagen up here for Barton, who's definitely got quite a bit of infantry now. And there we go, actually managed to almost wipe out the heavy mortar. Ostrom rushing into the base, behind the base buildings. Can they get it? Can they get it? There we go, managed it, and now they will steal it and make a run for it. At least I think so. There we go. Grenades going off, but Tank Weaver Tank Command absorbs it. Come on, get that heavy mortar out of there before it's too late. There we go. Ostrom doing what they can to cover the retreat. Looks like another squad has been wiped out. By the way, quite unfortunate. But now we do know that Barton possesses a heavy mortar to utilize against his erstwhile opponent. Tiger doing what he can, Conscripts actually rushing up, and there we go, anti-tank grenade. Tiger down to half health, and gaining veterans you1. Hurrah! And a quick blitzkrieg to survive the situation before it becomes impossible to salvage.
Infantry firing on us.
The addition of a second field gun, of course the first one being veterans, 2 increasing its damage, is never going to cause some problems here for Barton. He's not careful, Although we do see the veterans of the Grenadiers also causing quite some trouble here for SturmtigerVorgas. Question is, of course. Oh, nice mortar around there, almost wiping out one Grenadier squad. And a quick assault in there, rushing straight into the Einstein with his Flampanzerwagen. A bold move there by Barton, but he underestimated the tenacity of Vorgas and instead got buttoned up, locked with anti-tank grenades and shot with anti-tank rifles, resulting in a kaput Flampanzerwagen. But there you go. It's time to have a look at the mid-game analysis. What is the current situation and what can be done? And the current situation rather looks overwhelmingly in favour of Barton. Map control wise, but also overall unit situationally wise. Barton's got more infantry. Barton's got an overall broader sort of suite of units. He's even got a heavy mortar he stole from the Bolsheviks. And of course he's got a Tiger tank. So in many regards, things are looking rather in favour of Barton, also because again he fought a bit ahead and actually laid down munitions caches. Conversely, Vorgas doesn't actually have any caches up at all. I mean, it's not like he's completely in the dumps. He's still got some quite veteran infantry, he's got some field guns, he's got a heavy mortar of his own, but clearly Vorgas has got a steep climb ahead of him. And it's going to rather come down to how well he can actually use what little he has left. Can he ambush the Tiger using the field guns and some guard infantry? Combine it with a marked target, he could very well knock out that Tiger quickly, or a few good uses of the field guns barrages might also turn things out in his favour. But it is going to require that Vorgas gets clever, that he doesn't resort to any sort of brutal head-on assault, because he cannot afford that. It's going to be very much about finding the weak spots in Barton's force, how they're put up, and then hammer away with it and do as much damage as possible to Barton. Otherwise, I mean, he's going to lose. For Barton, it's going to, of course, go about to be playing sensibly, not trying to throw away this game. Good usage of his abilities, and otherwise, keep pressuring and keep that Tiger alive, because even if it doesn't do much damage, although it has done quite a bit, it's still going to just be there as a large source of pressure on Vorgas' mind. So, let's return to the fight. Although, again, I mean, also considering what sort of angles might be the best for Vorgas to attack from, and again, this, bad. This would work, or if you could sneak up here, this might also work, and certainly I would also suggest Vorgas actually does a bit of harassment over here to try and draw away some of Barton's troops towards the flank. I would also suggest that actually Barton detaches both of his Ostrom squads into a smaller force, and then have them run the way around here, harassing, which would actually force Vorgas to actually detach some forces to deal with that as well. And again, the Ostrom would be much cheaper to send away for doing exactly that. But let's return to the fight now. So, what shall happen now? Good job then reinforcing his field gun, by the way.
It's cold.
Looks like we are seeing Barton firing away with his heavy mortar. His schwerer Granatenwerfer. Which the Germans actually also make use of. Pretty much an exact copy of the Soviet one. Rare that it actually happened, but it didn't actually happen throughout the war, that basically one side basically went, this is actually a pretty good design, let's just use it. But Guards infantry conscripts charging in there. Vorgas is in fact resorting to the very exact head-on assault, which I rather hoped he wouldn't. Right in front of the Tiger here, from the Guards, the Grenadiers, mortars, all the way out, seeing the Soviet mortar firing in response, over to catch some fascists. Actually, no, it's some Barton, yes. Ostrom actually flanking, another Ostrom squad moving about here. Actually, I think it might be Vorgas now, actually. Sorry, times can be a bit tricky to keep track of. Who to keep track of. And there we go, field gun tactic getting mortared. The Ostrom working quite nicely as observers. Molotovs here catching the Ostrom force on the way. Although Ostrom squad continues to pressure the left flank. Die Hilfswillige. There we go, maximum recruit right there for Vorgas, continuing the pressure. He might also consider trying out something with the T-35s, using them against the flank, against the infantry, although initially should try not to take on the Tiger. Not until he can actually be sure to actually do some serious work against it. Grenadiers here holding up, 26 kills. Guards infantry there were 23. Light machine guns, and of course the RGD-33 grenade. Stick grenade, very much like the Germans. Stick grenades rather had the advantage you could throw them longer. Of course, there was a slight disadvantage. They're also much easier to pick up and throw back at the other bastards. There we go. Molotov. MG crew catching a fine flank, also close to freezing to death. Ostrom continuing the advance up the west. Vorgo continues to push on despite severe casualties. And it's already beginning to peter out. He simply can't really keep this up. And already the field guns have been pulled back without really providing any support for the advance. But again, close to be able to calling in the T-3045s. That would definitely be one opportunity again. Also knowing that Barton's actually placed the pack 40s very close to each other now. Interesting, interesting. I wonder what Barton is thinking with this. What could his possibilities be?
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Fuel has fallen. Center's now falling. The assault overall did not go overwhelmingly in the favor of Vorgo.
We need to re-establish our supply lines.
Comrade, squad replenished.
Fire pit up.
Awaiting command.
Good job there. Tiger advancing.
Mortar crew ready. We are awaiting orders.
Ostrom securing there.
To capture our territory.
Also knowing veterans 2 on the Soviet mortar. That's quite good. That's quite handy. Can't go see the caught right here with the Tiger. Less handy, less good. And an airstrike going in right there from Barton. Looks like the Kanonenvogel might have been summoned. Not really good against infantry, although it does do something. The assault continues. Ostrom continues to bleed as well. Quick rifle grenade here. Does a bit. And there we go. Third victory point now in the hands of the Reich. The Osttruppen secured it. For Deutschland. Another move there. Didn't do much either.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
And a half-track on the way. Like to keep things going. Perhaps in provide some anti-aircraft coverage. Still a ton of fuel going on there. And again, also a lot of resource being spent on heavy mortars and guards infantry throughout this fight. So I suppose that is understandable. Desperate fighting here for the points. Field guns finally moving up. And looks like the combat units are getting into the flame for a half-track. Oh, the half-track flame. Never mind. And there we go, Osttorben in trouble. 50 cal machine gun, flamethrowers, rifles. Although we do see quick Panzerfaust there. And also noting that the aircraft actually did quite a bit of damage. The light vehicles are quite vulnerable to the Kanonenvogel. And thus it actually pretty quickly went down. And there go field gun. Veterans free field gun, by the way. Really a lot of damage you can do now. And already there, the Tiger quickly goes down to half health. So of course, good job there from SturmtigerVorgas actually preserving his field gun, doing his best to keep the crew alive. Because it really becomes powerful if you live long enough. So good job there from Vorgo.
Over there! Here they come! At full strength.
A lot of people do have a tendency of treating the packs and the field guns as rather expendable, in particular the crews. And thus they actually end up missing out one of the more lovely benefits, which again is the veterans, the fact they veterans you up pretty quickly if you actually do something to preserve them. And you really should try some T-3045s. It's going to look like into another flanking assault. There we go, getting caught in the Maxim's line of fire. Conscripts providing additional support as well. And an MG42 right here. Oh, he got the heavy mortar. He got the German heavy mortar, killing the Ostrom manning it. Nasty work that. Certainly a good job there, although his heavy mortar is a bit exposed, a bit on its own. There we go, Tiger advance is opening up there. Nice damage there to the Guards Infantry Squad. Storm Gunner is following up. And that's going to force the heavy mortar to have to retreat. Field guns nearby.
Our headquarters is taking enemy fire. We have an isolated sector.
And there we go, nice hit on the Tiger.
Supply sector under attack.
Another hit, almost down to half health in fact. And there we go, Veterans are free on the other field gun. Another heavy mortar. I think he might be going a bit overboard with those. Flanking up here with the conscripts of Maxim, though that's not really going to do much against the Tiger.
Our command post is under assault.
And there we go, point blank barrage with the field gun at the advancing infantry from the Germans. Conscripts could try and seize the anti-tank gravity, wouldn't do much, but still would be able to do a little damage. And there we go, we do see a full infantry right there going on from Barton. Barrage did save the day. Now it's time to pull up close, as opposed to get up the other heavy mortar up there. And these conscripts just need to get out of there, caught in front of a lot of machine guns. And not just the MD-42, but also the tanks machine guns, the coaxial, the hull, and the aircraft machine gun there, the anti-aircraft. And there we go, another nice hit to the rear.
Enemy infantry. Area secured.
And stealing away a pack after a nice flank. Looks like he might have tried to want to surprise the Tiger. Well, the right here probably would have worked if he actually had a tank to move in, you know, a T-3045, but sadly he'd spend all the resources on other fun things. And there we go, Veteran T2 Tiger tank. Definitely not good news. But still, we are seeing that Vorgas actually given a chance to actually advance now. Can he actually take advantage and do some serious damage to Barton? Another bit of Stuka close air support. And Barton summoning another Tiger. Straight from core reserves. Another pass from the Kanonenvogel.
Standing by. Incoming fire.
Guards infantry moving up. Ooh, lots of nasty damage against the Guards infantry. Heavy losses inflicted. Also knowing Barton does not recruit the heavy mortar. So doing here, blobbing a bit too much up for my own liking. Need to be careful. I mean, one nice barrage there could have ended it all in some tears. Tiger moving up to one flank. Good job, good job. Maxim cleared out. And Barton's stepward assault continues. Pushing again there for the cut-off. Maxim quickly recruit. And Tiger almost combat ready again. 54 kills, by the way.
Enemy forces are secure.
Definitely not looking too good for Vorgas, although he does continue an impressive fight nonetheless. But there are obviously problems. So quickly recruiting here. And there we go, finally calling in a pair of T-3045s. Took its goddamn time. Tiger advancing straight into the two field guns. Veterans are free. Although they can't really see it. They could actually try and use the tracking ability, of course, to get increased line of sight. But apparently that really hasn't seemed to cross SturmtigerVorgas' mind, which is a bit of a shame. Again, the usage of veterans' abilities can really make a difference in a fight if you know how to use them properly. And looks like the veteran 2 Tiger here might get spotted. No chance of marked vehicle though due to the blizzard, otherwise that would have been my suggestion to use. And ramming away, he might have actually wanted to try and get behind it first before ramming, since there's a better chance of actually penetrating and actually knocking out the main gun. Instead he only ended up stunning it, and still ended up with a T-3045 which can't move or shoot. So that was a bit of a blunder right there. Tiger though continues to take heavy damage from the... But Vorgo did fumble that one a bit. He needs to quickly move up as much as he can to actually support this, some infantry to shield his field guns, but he's not. Which again is allowing Barton to pressure, and that's a bit of a problem that seems to have been throughout this fight. Vorgo has been a bit lacking in infantry, hasn't really been supporting his support units, more importantly, placing something in front of the support units for them to support. Tiger rolling in again, this T-34 in a bit of trouble, to put it mildly. Field guns need to roll up quickly again, come on, take advantage of the fact that all of Barton's infantry retreated. Come on, Vorgo, move it. But apparently Vorgo is not moving at all. Definite shame there, definite shame. Come on. Oh well. No attempt at self-repair on the T-34-85 either. Field guns have finally moved ahead, but now it's already a bit too late. Other Tiger moves ahead. And there we go. 2 shots from 2 veterans to 3 field guns, and it's already down to half health again. That's their power. That is simply the power that such veteran field guns possess. And in fact, there we go. Barton is forced retreated, almost completely wiped out. And it's only taking 4 shots. So, I mean, do not underestimate the power that veterancy does on your field guns or anti-tank guns otherwise. It really is impressive.
Grenadiers here!
Yet so many don't really put much effort into actually serving them.
Awaiting orders!
Which is a definite shame.
Taking service fire!
And there we go, combat is dead. No attempt at self-repairs on the T-3045. Come on, Vorgo, move it, move it. Put a bit of back into it. Also knowing the Ostrom are actually veteran into both squads now.
Contact infantry! It's done.
Heavy losses on the advancing conscripts. Even the Ostrom are getting some kills here. So well done there. Barton pushing ahead. Field guns up at the front, opening up in the Tiger. 60 kills. Field guns a bit of trouble here. Clearly Barton has his target in mind. Still not recruiting the heavy mortar though, it seems like. And flanking here. Nice deep flank with the Gewehr 43s. Clearly intending on getting those field guns and their bloody crewmen. But will he succeed? Will he succeed? All clumping up here. Perhaps not the best of ideas. And ready to move ahead again. Field guns firing away. And even Veteran 2 again. I mean, it does limit protection against Veteran 3 field guns. And even now, it's down to half health. It's just such a shame that Vorgo, while pursuing them, doesn't quite seem to understand their power fully and doesn't do enough to actually get the most out of it. He doesn't use the tracking ability. He doesn't really keep any infantry in front of it. He really doesn't do much to get the most out of it. Or even use marked target. But again, that's also a problem because Vorgo didn't think ahead. He didn't get any munitions caches, whereas Barton did. And Barton is getting a lot more munitions in because of that. Which is ultimately also giving Barton a bit more of an advantage. And a bit more freedom in what he wants to use in abilities. And a veteran-free heavy machine gun crew. Lovely. Another push up here from SturmTiger. I mean, he isn't even bothering with the flanks at all anymore. Rather seems like he's just bashing his head in. The usual desperate last measure from someone who doesn't seem to quite know what to do anymore. And which rarely actually seems to work. Field gun not even pointing in a really good direction. Quickly pushing up there. And finally sending something to deal with the flank. That's apparently the Mingy crew. Nice hit there from heavy mortar. Actually, Barton's now finally recruited his own heavy mortar. Good job. Tiger continues to advance, getting blasted here by one of the field guns. Other one finally also moving up, but still very lacking in infantry, very lacking in anything that actually hold up the front line. Grenades lobbed up. Field guns are now quite exposed. German infantry continues relentlessly. And this very much looks like game over. Barton just basically needs to run in the Tiger tanks. Points being taken. Just going to speed this up a bit because, well, not really a lot happening.
It's ours!
My pardon for the technical difficulties, by the way. Looks like I will need to defrag a bit more. Oh well. Vorgo continues to pressure. In fact, they're also quite close in victory points, so that's something to remember.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
But that doesn't really solve the problem that Vorgo hasn't really been otherwise doing as best as he could.
We have forced the enemy down to 200 points.
Quite a vicious Tiger tank, this one. Has certainly served Barton and the fatherland well.
Tiger attacking! What is this shit?
Tiger is under attack.
Counter squad wiped out. Heavy mortar might be next. Having finally liberated it from the Germans, it doesn't really succeed. And there we go. Game over. A victory for the 1st Panzer Division. A loss for the 30th Tank Corps. A loss for Vorgo. Some of the usual problems again. A Soviet player who doesn't actually use his otherwise cheap mines to sort of delay a Soviet-German advance to make it more difficult for them to advance. But also, you know, the fact that Barton actually made so overall better use of his doctrine, actually fought things a bit ahead using the 2 munitions caches, the otherwise interesting use, you know, of light mechanized vehicles, and pressuring on the flanks more than Vorgo actually did in return. That and Vorgo, while he actually had some strong cards on his hand, didn't really use them. That and finally, he just lost so much manpower and constantly having to call in heavy mortars, and Garton, and then ultimately, you know, he never really expanded his force a lot. So there were some larger problems here going on with Vorgo under the surface, but a few of them basically come down to, again, you know, not using the full resources fully at his disposal. I mean, again, he didn't use veterans abilities on his field guns, which several times they probably could have won him the fight. I mean, that's a problem. There wasn't, say, any use of trip mines either, and so on. And there go, you know, also making armor company. I mean, ultimately, he didn't do as much as he could have. I mean, he played well, but ultimately, you know, it doesn't do much when your opponent ultimately uses his resources much more thoroughly than you, and that is what he did. I mean, Barton made good use of caches, veterancy abilities, well, not really that, but, you know, at least doctrinal abilities. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned a thing or 2 or 3. If you did, want to subscribe to your friends. If you didn't, well, why not join the replay beyond? Provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.